Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pharma Talks, the podcast where you explore the pressing matters of healthcare, of leadership, and innovations in pharma. I'm your usual host, Nataliya Andreychuk, the CEO of V7, and today we know all that there is a massive transformation in pharmaceutical industry, and the companies are rethinking their operations, their talent strategies, and they integrate the new technologies to stay competitive. Joining me today is Steve Swan, the CEO of the Swan Group executive search firm. Steve specializes in connecting pharma and biotech companies with IT professionals, bridging the gap between technological experience and industry needs. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Natalia. Thanks for having me. This is going to be great. I'm excited for this. So, I'm Steve Swan, founder and owner of the Swan Group. As you mentioned, we do executive search for biotech and pharmaceutical firms and focus on the technology end of things. Been doing this 26 years. I actually started this and took this over from my mother. My mother did this for 50 plus years, and I got involved with her 26 years ago, and haven't looked back. So it's been great. And when we first started doing this, or when I first started doing this 26 years ago, it was kind of like we'd handle just about anything, well, really anything on the technology side for biotech, and as you can imagine, be careful what you wish for because now technology touches everything, and with AI getting involved, it's even more so, right? So even the business folks in the business are getting involved with AI. So we tend to work with what I call the small companies. I put companies, biotechs and pharmaceuticals into three buckets: small, medium, and large. The small ones tend to have sales at about a billion USD and under, and medium would be probably 1 to 8 billion, and then the large ones are 8 plus. So there's a lot of money that flows around in this industry, and it tends to be from our perspective, companies that have roughly a billion USD in sales will have about 1,000 headcount. So just gives you an idea of what small looks like: 1,000 folks and under, and maybe a billion USD in sales and under. But that's where we focus, and that's what we've been doing for 26 years.
That's an amazing story, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
We will be talking today about the talent crisis in pharma, and I'm curious to figure out your opinion on the question, is this hard today for pharma companies to recruit AI and digital talents? Do they really need AI and digital talents? Do you see this trend right now? Is it difficult for them?
I think so. I do a podcast myself, Biotech Bites, and I interview the CIOs of a lot of these different biotechs, and they do need it. AI is going to help them tremendously. If you think about the biotech and pharmaceutical life cycle, their scientists discover a compound and they have to determine whether it's worthwhile and so on and so forth. And that's many, many, many years worth of experimentation, analyzing data. Then there's clinical trials and all those things. AI, if we automate some of these things and we use AI to collate some of the data, clean some of the data, make some of that data usable, so on and so forth, we could cut, a lot of time off. Even if we take it down from 10 years to 9 years, that's a lot of money and a lot of time saved to get effective therapies to patients, which is huge. That's gigantic, really helping the global patients. So do they need it? Absolutely. Do they need it? The difficulty for them right now is there might be an industry or two, finance being one of them, that could pay more. Or technology companies would pay more, the Googles, the Metas, the so on and so forth. But the folks that are attracted to pharmaceuticals and biotech are the ones that are more interested in the mission, right? Helping patients and helping do better for the world. The others, finance and technology, really are more just Not as high level of a mission, right? Not helping patients. And the real what I hear and what I've seen from the heads of IT in all these companies, the real what's the word I want to look for? The real Achilles heel, the real thing that this whole AI wave is dependent upon for everybody, not just pharmaceuticals, is their data, right? I'll give you an example. I had Bob McGowan on, who's the head of IT for Regeneron, big company, 15 billion, roughly 10 to 15 billion in
Yeah.
sales, goes up and down, right? And about 13,000 employees. And I placed Bob there at Regeneron 11 years ago. And I asked him, I said, "What's the one thing you wish you knew now that you know now that you wish you knew then when you started as the CIO?" He said, "Get your data ready, because for all this AI and all this analytics that we need to do, your data's got to be in perfect shape for the AI to learn from your models and such. So you can build and they can create great AI tools and great AI frameworks and such, but you have to feed it something, right? It's got to eat, it's got to consume. You need gasoline for the engine, and the gasoline for that engine is clean, good, reliable data. And if they don't have that, they're in trouble. So the real thing for each pharmaceutical company and biotech is to have their own reliable data. Getting it from a vendor, I asked Bob this. I said, what, can't you just go out and get it from a vendor? He said, You still got to clean it. You still got to look at it. You still got to know whether you can trust it. So it's all about the data, especially for the pharma companies. I mean, you hear that about other companies, that it's about the data, but for pharmaceutical companies with FDA and all the government agencies looking at everything they're doing, they have to be perfect. They have to be perfect at what they do. So that's going to be the Achilles heel of that for them.
Absolutely right. And I wanted like your comment on this trend where you see this massive, letting people go. So like we can see recently there was announcement of the new CEO of Novo Nordisk where within the restructuring and changing focuses, there will be almost 9,000 jobs cut by the end of the year. There is another example, which is a significant cut of the jobs with the Dodge office introducing the new program for life sciences and healthcare. So we can see that from one side, talents are going out of the industry, and from the other side, we are talking about hunting digital and AI talent and focusing more on automation. So do you think that we are going in pharma in the direction where with AI and the digital trends, more automation will be introduced by leveraging people with a more digital background? So is this like already very obvious as a trend?
I do believe that. I think the low-hanging fruit for AI is automation, right? So I'm working with two different companies right now, working on, just like you said, digital/marketing automation, right? Automating that. So I do think that is the case, but I do also believe that it's going to be sort of they're going to need somebody to drive that ship. They're going to need somebody to work those levers, right? It'll help folks be more efficient, and it'll cut time off of what we're doing. Like I said earlier, in the experimentation or in the clinical area, if we can cut some time off, it'll make those folks more efficient, and it'll cut down on investment dollars. And I think the same thing is going to happen here in the sales, the marketing, and all the other areas. I think that there's a few things going on there that I think that Novo Nordisk, they've got a lot of competition. So, they were growing and they went crazy. And they were the GLP-1, right? The weight loss drugs. They were the leader globally. Well, they're not the leader anymore, or not. No, I don't want to say the leader. They were the only one really doing it. Lilly's doing it, and now there's a bunch of others coming in and doing it. So there's a reason why Lilly and Novo have just gone direct to their customers, right? So they have the Novo one and the Lilly one, right? You can go right online and buy their weight loss drugs, as opposed to going to, well, I guess you still have to have a prescription, but you don't have to go through all the channels that you used to before, and it's a little cheaper. So anyway, their revenues are coming down a bit, but they still want to hold on to their market share. So I think part of that has to do with, part of the 9,000 layoffs have to do with that, right? They're not able to charge what they want to charge. But I think within the digital era and within AI and within technology, it certainly is going to automate a bunch of things. Will we be getting rid of a lot of folks because of that? I don't think so. Not yet. I think we're out over the front of our skis. As the saying goes, I think we're a bit ahead of ourselves. I think that when I talk to all my IT leaders, I'll ask them where are we with AI. They say, well, we're in good shape. We're getting more use cases every day. Christmas of 23, I had a group podcast and I had about 10 folks on, and there was only one use case between all of them in these biotechs for AI. Last Christmas, I had a podcast with, I think, 8 of them on, and I think by then they each had 4 or 5 use cases. So it's growing, and AI is here. It's not going anywhere, and it's going to help us be great and smart and faster. We just have to integrate it, and in the government, like you just said, you mentioned Doge. There is also an AI group somewhere within the government. So they've got to deal with that as far as, validation, right? Because within pharma and biotech, we have to validate everything for EDMA and for FDA and such, right? So we've got to make sure that we're following all those regulations and we're staying within the guidelines of what they need us to do, because eventually everything we do touches a human life, and that's important, right? We can't lose one person due to missing something, quote unquote, missing something. So we have to catch everything. I know I just hit a lot there, but I was trying to hit everything that you mentioned. So
Yeah, that's amazing, Steve, and amazing, metaphor you have used before, where like you were talking and asking the CEO, so what you of Regeneron, what you would be done differently, and these things about the data. I want to ask you, so like you are a lot in this, business of a people business. I say it people business, right? So I would to ask from the experience angle, what have changed in recruitment strategies, in the approaches, like recently in pharma? Do you have any, can you see any significant professional shifts in roles and, in movements to some consultancy even? So what do you see? What is the trend over there?
So the
What's
trend,
changed?
I can hit this from a few angles. The trend in positions, in talents that they need, that they want, that they're looking for, are the folks that are called, they've been called business. Years and years ago, they were called business analysts, right? Then they started in on business relationship managers. Now they're business partners. So, and they come and go into the corporate structure over the years they have. But now I think there's a big trend going on right now where a lot of companies are trying to hire business partners, and the business partners are the go-betweens between the business folks and the IT folks, because the business folks don't want to talk bits and bytes all day long, so they want somebody that knows their business very, very well. The IT folks on the other side that are building the solutions, that are coming up with the great ideas for business, need somebody that can talk IT but understands what business is talking about. So the business partner fluently speaks both languages, right? They fluently speak, German and English, however you want to phrase it, right? So they can, translate for both sides and help them draw their strategy, help them draw their roadmap, help them get to where they need to go, and can help shape the demand, right, of what the business is looking for, and can help guide the business, because they'll know what the IT folks are capable of. They'll know what IT truly can implement and what they can deliver. So the business partner is somebody that is embedded in IT, but sits at the strategy table with business. So then they bring that roadmap and that strategy together and help drive that forward, right? Help bring that forward. That's from the talent side. From the actual recruitment side, from where I sit, now the business and IT, to go back to that for a second, the business partner, they both understand where AI is for them and where technology is for them, and how they're going to continue to grow and change their IT needs and their business needs as AI morphs and creates greater things for them to utilize every day. They know that they're not replacing a whole department, or they're not doing a whole bunch of things with AI, because it's not there yet. But we need to keep it in our toolbox. We need to build it out. We lots of them are not creating AI as their central theme, but it's part of what they do, because it's here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to make us great. It's going to make us smarter, and it's going to get bigger and better every day. And it is changing that fast. Now, from the recruitment side, from my side of the business, what's changed with AI is that I think some businesses, some companies have gotten out over the front of their skis. I think that unfortunately, some leaders and some folks feel that AI can replace everything we do. And I'd argue that AI can help us again, like I talked about before. AI is gonna help make folks efficient at what they do. I think it's gonna help make us more efficient at the very, very, very front end to help identify, to help us find, some of the talent that we need for these positions. And then I call it the work in the middle. So the qualifications, understanding the personality of the company and what the company needs, and trying to mesh all those things. Again, I call that the work in the middle. The work in the middle means the front is finding the candidate, the back is the offer when the offer gets to them. All the work in the middle, I have found in the recent past, is something that's sorely lacking because we're in front of ourselves and we think that AI is going to do it all for us, and it's not. It's not there yet. Maybe it'll get there someday, but this is a human business. This is people hiring people. And, in order to find the right folks, you still need to understand the hiring manager's motivations, the hiring manager's personality, the company's personality, what hybrid, remote, do you need somebody to come in on the weekends? Do you need somebody that's going to drive hard? Do you need somebody that's going to push back on business? All that stuff. You can't figure that out by just, interviewing them or scanning them through some AI model. That really needs to be a series of conversations and meetings throughout the process, if you will. And so the work in the middle is where I think a lot of these firms are lacking, because now I'm starting to get calls from companies saying, well, we put out 3 offers on this one role and they've all been turned down. Well, what that says to me is we've identified them and we're dropping an offer in their lap, but in the middle, we're not doing the work. And, I see that. I see maybe once a year, I would get a call from a company saying, hey, listen, we've had 3 offers that are turned down. So I'd have to reverse engineer it. Is it your location? Is it your dollars? Is it the skill set? Is it your company? Do people not like your company? Is there something else wrong? I'd have to figure that out. But everything I'm hearing about right now, all the calls I'm getting are, we've gotten multiple turndowns on this role. Can you help? We're 6 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road, and we're nowhere. And again, it's got to be because none of the work in the middle is being done, because you don't put an offer in someone's lap unless you know they're going to accept it. At least I don't, right? So all the way along, I'm talking to them about the dollars, the company, so on and so forth. And if at the end, or we're getting close to the end, I know an offer's coming, I know what a yes is, I know what a maybe is, and I know what a no is, right? From a dollar perspective, right? And if I don't have those things, I'm not helping anybody. I'm not helping the candidate. I'm not helping the company. So from a technology perspective and from the recruitment perspective, I just hit that from both angles, and I could talk about this all day, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's Steve, that's amazing. So because
Sorry.
this work in the middle, this needs like this human intelligence and empathy and everything, which is not really compromised with the AI or any other technology or the machine, right? So
Right.
my observation is like, with all this job cutting and with all these, transformations and digital transformation, so we are more, I would say, going to the hybrid roles. So there is a combination already, like when in the past we had a clear role, there is clear business and clear IT. Now we have more and more hybrid roles, and people who are able to bring the bridge between IT and business are more and more valuable in the landscape of the companies. So this is what is happening. So this is how the companies are operating, and this is what is happening in the reality. So then we want people to be not purely IT and not purely business. We want them to meet somewhere in the middle, understanding each other very well. And today, so like talking about the data, being back to this conversation with Regeneron CEO, so like the data is the new gold, and everyone who has understanding of their data, they are the winners, and they can really be winners of these data-driven decisions and data-driven behaviors, right? But that's really a cool perspective of all of it. So I would like us to think about these integrated teams and collaborative workflows and data-driven decisions more, and say like, do you see do you see the future teams of pharma professionals, especially in commercial, that it is a combination of marketing and medical, so they do combine the both expertises?
It's interesting you say that. The first time I had a marketing/medical opening was in God, I could probably pinpoint the day if I had my computer in front of me. It was probably maybe 2016, something like that. And it was a unique combination. Somebody that had marketing, commercial, and med affairs, right? The medical side, leaking into the D side of R&D, right? Now it's more and more common. I'm working on a real high level of a VP reporting into a CIO of a $1 billion USD company right now, and they're going to be handling the business partnership for commercial and for R&D, and on the D side of R&D. So, and it's still not something that is overly not a lot of folks have those skills. It's not easy to find, right? On top of the fact of the personality and how they're going to interact with the business, and that's a core, a core need for these companies. But yeah, I am seeing that there's more and more, folks, right, that are getting exposed to that, and they tend to be like and by my definition, at the smaller companies, under $1 billion in sales, $1 billion and under, because I guess just because of the size, and they have to kind of push some roles together, right? As opposed to a big, I don't know, J&J or whatever, where everything's all segmented out. I think that's part of it as well, you know?
This is very valuable, and that's the amazing that you have came across this problem back in 2016. So
Yeah.
that's like a lot of time. So like almost 10 years back, and
Yeah,
now
it
we
was.
are.
I
It's
remember
like the
I remember when the
commodity.
CIO came to me about that, and he said, I need five, he called them business relationship managers, but five business partners, all sitting around him at his $400 million biotech. And I placed all of them. And the one that handled commercial was also handling medical. And she went on to be, I got her out of another pharma company. Because I placed all five of them around him. And then I eventually replaced him when he left the company. The company put me on retainer to find them a new CIO. Anyway, the woman that I placed in to do the commercial and medical, she went on to be the CIO of another company. Now she's a CIO of a different company. Most of these folks that do the business partner stuff that I've worked with are now CIOs. I mean, they're going to stay in one of these roles 2-5 years, and then they'll move on to be a CIO, because it's almost like a junior CIO type of role. They're just focused in their one area, and then they move into being a CIO of maybe pre-revenue or $100 million company or whatever it is. Yeah. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's very good topic to talk, and we can dig deeper. And that's a really fascinating talk. So, but we are need to close this part of the conversation, and if you will allow me to jump to the next one with the very
sure.
short answers.
Okay.
So
Oh
where
boy, short
you
answers. Okay.
have,
I'm gonna have to
yes,
focus. Okay. Let me
one
shift
word.
gears.
You had to say one word.
One
Hot,
word.
hot or not.
Okay.
So this type of the section. If you agree, you say hot. If you disagree, you say not.
Okay.
I will pronounce there in the first way, I will pronounce the question or just a statement, and you will agree or disagree. It's like a
Okay.
very
I'll say hot or
blitz,
not. Got it.
hot
Okay.
and not.
Boy, this is gonna be tough for me, as you can tell. I'm not talking. Okay.
Well, let's start. Let's begin. Pharma layoffs are less about cutting costs and more about making room for digital talent.
Not
Hiring ex-big tech engineers is the fastest shortcut for pharma's AI transformation.
hot.
Great. AI is making the classic medical rep role obsolete.
Not.
Great for medical reps. Wow.
I was at a doctor the other day, and I saw a medical rep walking in. I was like, wow, cool. So they are still, I mean,
They
the
exist.
personal touch, you can't replace it. Anyway.
Yeah. Remote first pharma teams can actually out-innovate in-house ones.
Hot.
Pharma regulatory red tape is secretly keeping the best AI talent away.
Hot.
That's what we do, right? Digital native startups will beat traditional pharma in attracting top AI talent.
Hot.
Unfortunately, pharma should poach digital experts from gaming and social media.
Hot.
In the next 5 years, the hottest job title in pharma will be Chief AI Officer.
Hot.
AI talent will demand equity like a startup, and pharma will have to give it.
Hot.
Great. Steve, that's a great session. So,
Yeah, I think
yeah, please.
I think they're gonna have to pay up because they're gonna have to get we're gonna have to get there, right? You know?
Yes, exactly. So we have to be there. So thank you for sharing your
Sure thing.
insights today. It's clear that the future of pharma lies in embracing digital transformation and attracting the right talent. And I loved this story about these phases of the work and a middle phase, which is very important and which is really needs and requires a lot of intelligent empathy and everything what is human only, right? To
Yeah.
our listeners, if you are navigating the challenges of building digital teams or seeking to attract AI and tech talent, remember that adaptability and forward-looking thinking is the approach to this problem. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with your colleagues, and stay tuned for more discussions. Let's see you next time. And thanks again, Steve, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, and same to you.
Goodbye.
This was great.